Hey everyone, today we are getting back to basics. And by back to basics, I mean I am presenting you with this extremely simple pared down makeup look. This is great for those of you who have a huge extensive makeup collection and you have so much you've forgotten how to just pare it down a little bit to get out the door and feel presentable. This is also specifically tailored to people who are just starting to dip their toe into the makeup world, whether you are 13, 14, 15 years old and you're just starting to play with makeup, or you're closer to my age at almost 50 or older and you're realizing what worked before isn't so much working for you now and you want to tweak something a little bit, and everybody in between. Don't forget to check the description box. I'll list everything that I used here, and by everything, that's not very much. I will also break it out into categories with recommendations under each category with products ranging from drugstore to high-end. So there is something for everyone. And one little extra thing, I say description box. All us YouTubers say description box. It doesn't say description box. If you're watching on your desktop, it's going to be the text underneath the title that says show more. And if you're watching on a YouTube app, then it's that little caret next to the title. Tap that, and there's a whole world in there full of information for you to discover. All right, enough of me babbling. Let's go wash my face, and we'll start from the very beginning. All right, we're starting with the way basic. I have a blank face. I just have my skincare on, and I'm going to go through this with the idea of you can always stop here, and then we're going to add a little bit more. So if I get to a point in this video where you're like, that is all I want to wear, you can stop watching, or you can just finish watching, but do not feel like you need to do all of these steps. These are way pared down for what I am used to doing. So I have noticed something about myself and about several of my friends who have asked me to take a critical look at them, that as I've gotten older, I'm losing my features. While I'm noticing that my skin and my friend's skin in general is actually in better shape than it was, we're not dealing with hormonal acne and blemishes. That's kind of nice. That is definitely nice. There are still some uneven patches, and while that is perfectly natural and normal, it is also nice to be able to address that. One of the places I see the most areas that need some toning, of course, is under our eyes. Sleep becomes more elusive as we age for some reason. And I do have a lot of drugstore products that I'm going to recommend, and I will put a list down in the description box of a whole bunch of options in all the categories we're going to talk about. But some things I just feel you can't swap out for something less expensive. The one product I'm going to say I can't find a dupe for is this TRISH McEvoy Instant Eye Lift, and it does what it says on the tube, and I can't tell you how many messages I have received from y'all saying, I wish I had listened to you sooner. This stuff is a miracle. So as you can see, it is a more pink-toned, light pink tone, and it is meant to just brighten and lift under the eye. The idea is to apply it in a triangle with a straight line against your nose and then out to the tip of your eye and across. And I'm just going to apply it on one side, and I'm not going to use anything fancy. I'm using my finger. This is the side that has the instant eye lift. So let me put it on the other eye. I'll be right back. This product is unique for a lot of reasons. First of all, it does correct, and there are several shade options depending on your skin tone. I use shade 1. It is very lightweight, but it is not drying. And that's why I say I can't find any dupes for this, because there are a handful of correctors on the market, both at the drugstore, very few though, and in department stores. And the lighter weight ones tend to be very drying. On me, I have dry skin, and I know as we age in general, our skin becomes more dry, especially under the eyes. So I'm not going to recommend something that's not going to work great for me personally. You may have experience with something else. I know people with oily skin do like the Maybelline Age Rewind-Brightener. I find that's too thick, and I also find that it's too dry. So I'm standing by this. I think this is amazing. The other thing that's unique about this product is that it is designed to be worn either on its own with no other makeup. See how it just blended into the skin? It doesn't look like my makeup just stops right here. If you're going to wear it with more face makeup, complexion makeup, like a foundation or a tinted moisturizer, it goes on before everything else. All the other conventional correctors and concealers are meant to be applied after your foundation or whatever complexion makeup you're putting on. But we're not going to stop there, because I am not going to. I'm not going to recommend a foundation to even out your skin tone, although if you're comfortable with that, that would be my recommendation. But for those of you watching who are just dipping your toe into the makeup water, let's start with something a lot more forgiving. and that is a tinted moisturizer or a BB cream. CC creams, I'm throwing a lot of words at you, I'm sorry, are almost the same as foundations at this point, and I still love them all, but I think if you're just starting out, you want something a little more forgiving, especially as you're trying to figure out your shades. One I like that does have a little more coverage is the Tarte Maracuja Tinted Hydrator. I have mine in the shade 13N, Fairlight Neutral. L'Oreal makes more of a balm version. Several that I like also contain a little extra SPF, but again, it shouldn't matter if it does or doesn't because we're not going to be relying on our makeup products to take care of SPF. You have to make that a separate step. So I am not going to do anything fancy. I never use my fingers. This feels very strange to me. And you're going to see that it doesn't completely change my skin tone. It's not going to cover up. I have some redness here. I have just, life on my face, which I've earned and I enjoy it. It's not going to make me look completely flawless. That's what foundation is for, but we're not going to do that today. Let me do the whole face so you can see how that looks. And then I'm going to tell you my secret for still making yourself look pretty flawless even when you don't want to wear foundation. You can go a step further if you have some blemishes that you're feeling self-conscious about. Throw on a concealer. I like the e.l.f. Camo Concealer if you're looking at the drugstore. I do like this one a lot now. This is the Tarte Creaseless Concealer because this works really well both under the eye if you want to add a whole other layer of brightening on top of what we already use, but it also works really well on your face because it's creaseless. It moves with your face and it does provide some coverage, but for the purposes of keeping things really simple, I'm not going to add concealer to my face, even though I'm practically twitching, wanting to cover up a couple spots here and some uneven skin tone. We're going to let it go. We're just going to let it go. We can do that in another video. What I am going to do, and this is the secret to your flawless looking face or more perfected than what it looks like maybe when you roll out of bed, is add a powder, but not just any powder. Add a powder foundation with a fluffy brush. So the one I'm using here, again, from the drugstore, this is the e.l.f. Camo Powder Foundation. They sell this at my grocery store. They sell it at Ulta, they sell it at Walmart. I mean, you don't have to go anywhere special to find this. I would say to use a fluffy brush. This one is an old one from Sephora, but like you can find any big fluffy brush, Real Techniques, Eco Tools. It doesn't have to be a fancy brand, it just has to work. So just dip this in, tap it off, and just start. If you want to tap it into your face, you're going to get more coverage than if you just brush it on. So let's brush it on and kind of buff, and then we'll see how I feel about adding a couple more layers on. I even very gently have swept under my eyes. I think this looks pretty good. I'm happy with this. This looks fine. There's nothing wrong with this, but I have noticed that when you look at younger people, I'm talking like teenagers with that bright, fresh, youthful glow, and they have that sun-kissed look to them even though they're not in the sun. As we age, we lose all that pigment that we want. We become more sallow, we become more pale. So if you want to step up your routine a notch, add in a bronzer. And again, does it have to be one of my favorites, the Gucci bronzer? No. You can reach for a drugstore classic, the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. It also smells really nice. And you don't have to use a special brush. You can use the same fluffy brush. In fact, let's go for it. Let's use it. So I'm just going to go in here. And this does come in different shades. And I am going, now this is where it freaks people out. I'm not going to use it as a contour. That's a whole separate video. I'm going to do it where the sun would hit the high points of your face. So across your cheekbones, across the tops of your forehead. The other reason I'm hoping we need to add more color to our face is because we've been using SPF, so no natural color has actually hit our face. Don't be precise with it. Just sweep, sweep, sweep. Do it across the bridge of your nose because the sun, boom, hits all those things. We are not contouring. Well, we're contouring a little. I do like to go under my chin, bring it down my neck a little. There's nothing precise about this. I'm barely looking in the mirror. I know where my face is. I am putting it a little bit on the sides of my nose. How much is really getting on there? I don't know, because I've been putting this all over my face. If you want to contour using that same brush, just pinch your brush so that it's smaller. Well, first put the product on, then pinch it, and then I can get the sides of my nose. I'm gonna do a little under. I would like my nose to look a little slimmer. You can do the same if you wanna get under your cheekbones. I do not recommend that with bronzer because it'll look like you have candy bars on the sides of your face, too stripey. We can stop here. I have a couple other layers I'd like to add, but we're gonna stop here. I'm not even gonna do blush right now. The biggest, I hate to say mistake, the biggest improvement I can see people make of all ages on their face is to do something with their eyebrows. So easy to do. Get a spoolie, they sell these everywhere. Get a spoolie, brush your eyebrows up. Even just that makes a huge difference. Groom the hair on your body, whether it's on your brows, your lashes, your head. We'll just leave it at that. I would recommend, especially older women or women who are struggling with thyroid disease like me, we tend to lose the edges of our eyebrows. This defines our whole face. When you don't have defined eyebrows, even if you're a blonde, your features are just sort of floating. And it really helps to give people a focal point. Not that they should be staring at your eyebrows, but the eyebrows are gonna draw them into your eyes. You want people to look into your beautiful eyes, into your soul. And I recommend to take a pencil and draw in the sparse areas on your eyes. This one I like, it's from e.l.f. and I went with the shade Taupe. And this has a spoolie that I could have used. When in doubt, as far as colors go, Taupe works with almost every hair color. It's a little bit cooler toned. It works with the blondes. It even fills in the thinning areas for brunettes. Like if you have true black hair, it might not work, but it'll do in a pinch. And it also leaves a little more room for error because it's not so harsh. And that's the last thing we want on our face is anything harsh. So it's a really fine line, this one. I'll leave the link in the description box. All you wanna do is just kind of trace the outline of the bottom of your brow to wherever you want it to end. Lightly pencil in the edge of it and then lightly pencil in the top. Even if there's no hair underneath that outline, we're gonna come back in. I think you can see here, there's a gap between my hair and the edge there that I drew. And we're gonna just take a minute. It's just a minute. Now this is a little warmer than I like, but like I said, it'll work. And just keep little short lines, penciling it in. And here's the step a lot of us forget to do. When you've penciled in your brow, go back with the spoolie and comb it up and through. It just disperses the product a little bit and softens it. So this is the brow that's done. There's nothing terribly wrong with this, but this one's just slightly more improved. And if you want to take it a step farther, and you do because we're watching this, right? Take a brow gel just to hold it in place. You did all that work. Now you don't want it to move all over your face. So another brow gel I love, also from e.l.f., it's their Brow Wow. And I think there is a clear version, but I'm all about a little bit of pigment. It fills in those thin areas, and especially if we've missed one. And here's a little bonus tip. If you color your hair like I do, lighter than your natural hair color, so your brows do go a little darker, if you get the lighter shade like a blonde or a taupe, it kind of takes the edge off the darkness of your brows and makes them look a little more cohesive with your colored hair. Let me just do the same on the other side, and we're almost done. All right, we are almost done. I have only 2 more things that I feel are sort of must-haves for a basic makeup look. So I've got these great eyebrows, but then there's like, you just skip right over my eyes. Why do you skip over my eyes? Because I have no mascara on. Just grab some eyelash curlers, practice. This makes a huge, huge difference. They don't have to be any kind of special ones. These are Shuramura, but I need to get a new one. These are about a decade old. It's time to replace them. You can get the Revlon ones at CVS or in your grocery store, whatever brand it is. Practice with them, and I will tell you the easiest way to do this is to look in a mirror. Do not do this without a mirror. Look slightly down. I would say 45-degree angle down. And then don't close it all the way. Close it enough so you can feel the tension. If it doesn't hurt, squeeze all the way. Hold it 5-10 seconds. Pump it if you feel like it. That really doesn't do anything. And it just lifts and opens. It makes a huge, huge difference. Okay, lashes are curled. Mascara is key. I personally think if you're gonna put on mascara, you might as well go all in and go for Blackest Black. Here's my tip on the mascara. I've shared this before, but do your bottom lashes first. And yes, do your bottom and your top. You want to frame the whole thing. Look down, tilt your head in. This is not a flattering look for anybody. And then wiggle along the lash line. When you point your head down like this, or your chin down, it lifts the lashes away from your face and makes it a little bit harder for you to get the mascara on your face and easier for you to just leave it on your lashes. This is a brand new tube, so there's not a lot on this brush. I am gonna do the other side the same way. It's okay if you get some on your face, just leave it alone, let it dry. Then when you're all done, go back with a Q-tip or makeup brush and kind of flick it off. Now for the top lashes, opposite holds true. Tilt your head away, it lowers your lashes and leaves them with more space between your lid and the lash, less likely to get mascara on your face that way. So we need something happening on the lips. Of course, I prefer a lipstick personally. I like that level of pigmentation on the lips. A lot of you don't, especially if you're watching a basic makeup tutorial. So I'm gonna recommend a tinted lip balm, and one that I really like is from the brand NIVEA. They have a bunch of colors, blackberry, watermelon. I think today watermelon looks like it's a closer fit to my top. This way you're getting some moisture, a little bit of color, not a lot, and it's something you can just, I'm gonna look over here. You don't even have to look in the mirror to apply. We lose pigmentation in our lips as we age. It helps to put it back if you wanna look a little more put together. Lip gloss works well. I found this one at the drugstore. This is the NEUTROGENA Moisture Smooth Color Stick. I'm gonna just fill in a little here. This is a nice sort of halfway between a balm and a lipstick. Very moisturizing. Not a fan of anything matte. It's too high maintenance, just for a little definition. That's not necessary. And this is it. I'm gonna take my hair down. I would personally add a little more powder as I'm looking in the mirror. I'm a little shiny here. Tinted moisturizer tends to be a little shinier. The extra couple of steps I wanna share with you, I feel like one way to help me look less tired is to add even a little more color. I'm talking about color on my cheeks. I can hear my grandmother's voice in my head saying, you need a little color on those cheeks. And she'd reach in and pinch my face. I just grabbed a very universally flattering, if you're fair-skinned, shade from L'Oreal. I think this is called Baby Blossom. This is from Flower Beauty, very inexpensive, and just smile, apples to the cheeks, and pull it back. It's just, you know, you can do something with a little more pigment if you want. I just wanted something barely there in case color is scaring you. And then the very last step, not a new product, I'd go back to my bronzer. I just feel like I need something here. Again, this is personal preference. You could have stopped a long time ago. Get any kind of fluffy crease brush. Tilt your head back so you can see where your socket line is, and just really messily go in there with the bronzer. Back and forth, little windshield wiper. You can even pull it down a little if you feel like it. And we got an eye look. That is the basic minimum makeup look I feel comfortable introducing you to, plus a couple extra little steps if you feel so inclined. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to hear more of. I had a lot of fun getting back to basics, and I hope that you did too.